Welcome to another edition of the Common Constitutionalist Weekly Podcast. And since this is my podcast, I must be the Common Constitutionalist. And son of a gun, I am. And today I want to talk to you about a fake news story. That's right, a fake news story, where a Muslim student didn't actually get accosted by Trump supporters. Son of a gun. And a rather tragic story about a woman who was burned within an inch of her life by her thug boyfriend. That's right. Today on the Common Constitutionalist.
You are listening to the Common Constitutionalist, broadcasting from an undisclosed location, free from the prying eyes of establishment black helicopters.
All right, so as I said in the intro, I want to follow up on an assault on a poor, innocent Muslim student in New York City, and this was actually reported originally on December 3rd by the newcivilrightsmovement.com, so you know it's going to be good. Let me just read this to you, all right, and you can digest it for a moment. They write, 3 drunk white men screaming Donald Trump assaulted an 18-year-old Muslim woman on a New York City subway train Thursday as fellow passengers stood by and watched. Those dirty dogs. Yasmin Saweed, I don't know if that's the correct pronunciation, and again, don't care, a business student who was born in the U.S., and naturally, since she's a Muslim, they have to stress that she was born in the U.S. and not in Afghanistan or something. Says the men hurled anti-Islam slurs at her and tried to rip off the hijab off her head. People were just looking at me and looking at what was happening, and no one said a thing, Saweed said. They just looked away. The horror. And it was horrible, wasn't it? Saweed said the men screamed Trump's name, called her an effing terrorist, and told her to get the H out of the country. Man, this just keeps getting worse. Poor Saweed. She boarded the train and tried to ignore them, but they pulled on her bag, breaking the strap. When she told them to leave her alone, they laughed. Ha 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 ha, and probably said Trump. Ho ho ho. Then they followed her to the other end of the train and tried to rip off her hijab. Holy mackerel, this is bad. Those darn Trump guys, they are the worst, aren't they? Saweed managed to get off the train before reporting the incident to police. Remember this, reporting the incident to police and calling her father to pick her up. Whereas the father said, nobody even offered to help an 18-year-old girl. That means something. Her phone was dying. You offer to help. It doesn't matter the race, religion, or country. And then the civilrightsmovement.com went on to quote some cold, hard facts about assaults on people of color. Saweed's assault was one of thousands of incidents involving harassment and intimidation of minors across the nation. In the wake of that white supremacist, I added that, Trump's victory. In the 10 days after November 8th, the Southern Poverty Law Center, of which every word they ever have uttered is fact, look it up. Yeah, right. They documented 867 hate incidents, but acknowledged that many others have likely gone unreported. Dun, dun, dun. The highest percentage of those incidents were anti-immigrant, followed by anti-black, and then anti-Semitic, anti-Muslim, and last but not least, anti-LGBT. Can't leave those guys out. New York alone has reported 69 hate incidents, second most behind California with 99. Funny how the 2 most liberal states in the Union have reported the most hate incidents. How is that even possible? Okay, so now we've got the stone cold facts. All right, this woman was assaulted, was shouted anti-Muslim slurs, get out of the country, and you're an effing terrorist. And then they tried to rip off her headscarf, and they broke the strap on her purse, and they just laughed, ha 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 ha, and yelled Trump, 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 Trump. We got that? Stone cold facts, brother. Here we go. Speaking of fake news, we weren't speaking of fake news? Well, we're about to. The news wasn't necessarily fake, but the incident was. It turns out, son of a gun, another phony, freaking hate incident. I wonder if the Southern Poverty Law Center has cataloged these bad boys. Probably not. No, excuse me. Definitely not. No, excuse me. 100% not. It seems that the poor little innocent waif, 18-year-old student Yasmin Saweed, has been charged with lying to police in New York City. Yasmin Saweed, 18, has been charged with falsifying a police report and obstructing governmental administration. What? You mean she lied? You mean Trump supporters didn't accost her, laugh at her, ha 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 ha, called her an effing terrorist, and all that other detailed information she gave to the coppers? Why, yes, that would be correct. And it seems that the family who lies together stays together, maybe in prison, I don't know. But apparently, hours earlier, it was also revealed that their brother Abdul, was arrested in 2012 for making a false police report claiming his friend had been assaulted. Unfortunately, because he made the police report, the police had an opportunity to check his story, and as they were checking his story, they found out that he was, and they charged him with breaking into cars and stealing contents out of the vehicles. So, old Abdul, it runs in the family. Now, I understand. This girl was 18 years old. Evidently, what had happened is she was out drinking and partying with friends who I assume that a strict Muslim isn't allowed to do, I guarantee you. And so her cover story was that she was attacked by Trump supporters because that's the chic thing to do if you're a liberal. And you know darn well that people like the Southern Poverty Law Center and the new civilrightsmovement.com and CARE and every other one of these whack job organizations are going to believe you just out of hand. They're not going to look into it. They're just going to believe you. And so, for a little while, she got away with it. But that didn't stop her older sister, Sarah Saweed, from going on Facebook and lambasting everybody but her sister, the criminal. Sister Sarah said of Yasmin that the NYPD should have never been involved in the first place, even if the incident did happen. Are you digging this? Okay, so how did they get involved there? Did you just magically show up? Oh, that's right. She filed a false police report and caused the police to investigate because that's what they have to do now for these politically correct hate crimes, these phony hate crimes. And so the combination of liberals and the protected class of Muslims actually caused the society to lurch in this direction. And obviously, as we've seen over and over again, Muslims are using this to their advantage to get out of whatever they're doing, as well as other people of color, the Black Lives Matter people and whatnot. There's false claims all over the place, and it all comes down to the common denominator. The Trump people, the guys wearing a Trump hat, the Trump T-shirts. Everybody's a Trump supporter, and they're all going attacking people of color. Well, obviously, a lot of these things are just false lies, but yet the cops are being ordered to track this kind of hate incident down, probably by Mayor Marxist de Blasio, and the rest of the socialist city council have probably ordered the police to make hate incidents, hate crimes, a precedent, whether they're real or not. So the cops waste all their time running down these phony leads, only to find out that they've wasted their time and effort and money when they could actually be out catching real bad guys instead of the ones that are made up by Yasmin Saweed, 18-year-old student who wasn't attacked on the New York City subway, and onlookers didn't watch this and say nothing. They didn't help her because she had a dying phone, because the incident never happened. Now, Sister Sarah, in her Facebook diatribe, also added that, quote, I had more than one cop tell me that they've looked through all our social media, me, my entire family, and my fiancé, and it doesn't look good that we've been vocal about certain issues they perceive to be anti-Trump, anti-white, and even anti-men. Now, she said she's had more than one cop tell me. I guarantee you she couldn't name one, because I can't guarantee it, but I bet your paycheck on it. I bet mine on it too, that no cop ever said this to her. That this was a lie too, because she comes obviously from a family of I wouldn't say skilled, because they keep getting caught, but a family of Muslim liars that use their Muslim faith as a shield against wrongdoing. And it's frankly nice to see the law catching up to people like this. Hopefully others will take this as a teachable moment and not do the same jerky stuff and making the cops and the FBI and everyone else run around with their like chickens with their heads cut off, chasing these phony leads and wasting their time and money, and our money, taxpayer money. So the next time you hear something about fake news, and it's always on the right where the fake news and stuff, this kind of stuff was posted and published right away, no background, no nothing, no checking, no, not even a disclaimer that it was unsubstantiated, nothing. This was reported originally by what was that again? The new civilrightsmovement.com on December the 3rd. Right out of the gate. No checking, no nothing. They just printed it as dead, cold, hard fact. They did go on later to retract the story, but that was later, obviously. And as usual, no one ever reads the detractions. So, on that note, shall we take a break? Yes, we shall. Be back in a moment.
You're listening to The Common Constitutionalist. Let the truth be known.
All right, welcome back. And, one of the advantages of doing a podcast instead of a radio program is that the radio program you're on for 2 or 3 hours or whatever it happens to be, even an hour, and you're there because you're live on the radio. It's not an on-demand type podcast. So you got to be there. You talk for hours. You take phone calls, whatever you do. With a podcast, however, I can do like I did today. I can do a segment, and then I can go do something, and I can do another segment. And so that's the beauty of doing this, and then anybody can just pick it up on demand after I cut and paste it together, for want of a better term. And so I'm going to make this last segment a little short, because my son and I went indoor rock climbing today. We do that, and it is a taxing hobby if you've ever done anything like that. A lot of fun. We do boulder climbing, rock climbing, all kinds of stuff. And there's you can go up 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 feet. They have a 70-foot tower that we can climb up and belay, and all sorts of fun stuff. But it's taxing. So I'm kind of tired. So we're gonna do a short segment here. So enough enough excuses. Let's just get to this, shall we? This is from the Daily Mail, and once again, virtually every weekend I find something in the Daily Mail. And the reason is that they do some of the most interesting and offbeat stories. And they, more often than not, they turn out to, somebody picks them up. Either it'll be Rush or Sean, or, well, I don't listen to Sean anymore, but Mark Levin occasionally talks about him. Glenn Beck talks about him. Rush is a big fan. I'm a big fan of the Daily Mail because they give you the straight scoop without the American spin, for want of a better term. And this story that they did I guess they published it today or yesterday, but it's a pretty tragic story out of Ohio. There was a woman, Julie, what's her name, Malinowski, I guess. She's a 33-year-old woman. She's a mother of 2 from Ohio, and she sustained burns to 80% of her body when her boyfriend lit her on fire back in 2015. Yes, her boyfriend lit her on fire. And on Monday, just this past Monday, boyfriend Michael Slager, who's 41, pleaded no contest in the aggravated arson case. I don't know, when is there an unaggravated arson case? When somebody just stands there and you light them on fire and it's not aggravated. I don't know. And he was sentenced to a paltry 11 years in prison. Well, I've seen pictures and videos of this poor woman, and she is burned. I mean, she lost both ears. She lost fingers. She's as a matter of fact, she has blisters on her back and her back side that won't clear because they can't close the wounds, because they can't lay her on her side or her back, because she can't breathe unless she's flat on her back. So consequently, these sores aren't going to heal, and she is a disaster. It's an absolute tragedy, and this punk, this jack, gets 11 years in prison. I try to be reasonable and dispassionate about this kind of stuff, but this stuff is beyond the pale. This dude is just flat evil. What he did is they were at a convenience store, in the back of a convenience store or something. I don't know whether they were arguing, or I don't know what happens, because it doesn't really give the details. All we do know is evidently he doused her in gasoline and lit her on fire and stood there and watched while she burned. And she said that the only way she could speak is, I guess she has some sort of speaking tube that allows her to speak, and she's permanently ventilated. She can't do anything about it because her lungs had ingested so much hot gas that her trachea is completely trashed, so she can't speak unless she's got this speaking tube, and it's labored and it's whispering and you can barely make it out. But she said that I never knew that a human being could be so evil. He just stood there and did nothing. But in court, I guess Slager has always maintained that he set Malinowski on fire by accident when trying to light a cigarette. Of course, then again, I don't know how she got doused with gasoline first, and then he accidentally lit her on fire and then stood there while she burned. Unbelievable, this guy. And then you look at this guy, 41-year-old guy, and I try not to be too judgmental of outward appearance, but when your neck is covered in tattoos from the sternum to the chin, I'm sorry, but that's a sure sign of thuggery. You're a thug. You're a freaking wannabe gangster, and you think it looks tough, and you're a freaking thug. And that's the way this guy looks. He's got a kind of a mostly shaved head, receding hairline, goatee, not like mine, but a goatee, and he looks like a freaking convict already. And he's going to get 11 years. But this, like I said, this guy looks like bad news walking. It doesn't say how she ended up with this. Apparently, she was a cancer survivor, and evidently while she was on cancer, the opiates that she was taking for pain or something, she got addicted on that. So she's a recovering opiate addict and a cancer survivor. And now she's got this to deal with, and her mother's having to take care of her two daughters, because for the rest of her life, she's doomed for the rest of her life. She has a life sentence, and he's got 11 years. So I'm all for the justice system. I get it. We have to be objective. We have to be, like I said, dispassionate, and the rule of law should rule the day. But I'm telling you, I think, what was that, a couple weeks ago, maybe last week, I think it was a podcast on Bring Back the Firing Squad. Well, I'm telling you, this guy deserves a couple in the hat. This dude is, as she said, pure evil. He's just, when you can douse somebody with gasoline and light them on fire, you've got mental issues that I don't think can be cured. And the only cure for that is lead poisoning, if you know what I mean. So now, a year and a half on, she's not just in the hospital, she's been in the ICU for a year and a half. She's just basically clinging to life continuously. She's lost most of her skin, both of her ears, a good portion of her nose, all of her hair, everything gone, blisters everywhere from head to toe. And there's, like I said, they can't graft the back because they can't get to it long enough to graft it So I don't know, she's doomed to a life of misery, I hate to say, for this bag of crap that, like I said, deserves a couple in the hat outside take him behind the convenience store where he did his dirty deed, and put a couple in the hat and walk away and be done with this guy. Having the taxpayers have to take care of this guy and house him and feed him and clothe him for the next 11 years. Forget about it. You think he's going to see the error of his ways in prison? Heck no. This dude's a thug from word go, and that's the way he's always going to be. And I doubt he'll ever regret what he did to this poor lady. It doesn't say how they ended up together. I don't know. Maybe it's the bad boy syndrome or something she got sucked into. Maybe it has something to do with her, with her addiction that she had. I don't know. But all I know is that this guy is bad freaking news. I say this is a terrible tragedy, and it's a travesty of justice that this guy only got 11 years, because that's the maximum sentence in Ohio that this guy could get for aggravated arson. That's what they call it, aggravated arson. Give me a freaking break. This poor woman is doomed for the balance of her life, however long that may be. I guess that's about all I got to say about this. This kind of stuff just irks me to no end. At any rate, this is the Common Constitutionalist signing off for another week. Y'all have a great, blessed weekend, at least the balance of it. And Christmas is coming. Hopefully everybody's got their shopping done, got their Christmas cards in the mail. Everything's going great. We've got cold weather and snow up here in New England, and it's just festive. Yay for snow. Boo. And this is the Common Constitutionalist signing off. And I don't think I'll be talking to you next week since it's going to be Christmas. So I think we're going to skip it. I don't know. I'll do something. At any rate, this is it. That's it. I'm out. See ya.
Thank you for listening to the Common Constitutionalist Weekly Podcast.